Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, welcome to lecture number 1 of Econometrics. In this lecture, we will introduce in detail the theory of econometrics. This lecture will consist of 3 topics, namely what is econometrics, goals of econometrics, and then we will discuss the difference between theoretical econometrics and applied econometrics. So first of all, let's come to discuss what econometrics is. Dear students, econometrics is an important field in which we verify the economic theories through mathematical and statistical tools. So in this lecture, we will give a brief description of the theory of econometrics. We know that the econometrics is not only used in the subject of economics, but also it is an integral part of the research analysis in social sciences and other sciences as well. So in this lecture we will discuss in detail what is econometrics. So dear students, econometrics has actually been derived from two words, econo and metrics. Econo actually means economic and metrics means measurement. So the econometrics means economic measurement. According to another definition, econometrics is the field in which economic theories are verified through mathematical and statistical tools. Dear students, we know that economics is a social science, and in social sciences, practical experimentation is not possible. Therefore, to verify the economic theories, certain tools are used, and those methodologies are known as econometrics. Because economics is basically a theoretical subject, theoretical science, when a theory is presented, it's under certain assumptions, it is verified through the mathematical and statistical tools. And this process is called, this field is called, the field in which these theories are verified is known as the theory of econometrics. According to another definition, econometrics is concerned with empirical determination of economic laws. Basically, economic laws are presented, and these laws are verified through the field of econometrics through the empirical determination, empirical investigation through the econometrics. It is also defined as integration of economics, statistics, and mathematics for the purpose of providing numerical values for parameters of economic relationships, propensities, elasticities, and verifying economic theories. This means that in the econometrics we make use of statistics, economics, and the statistics in order to verify the economic theories. We find the parameters. Usually we need the elasticity of demand, the elasticity of supply, the elasticity of import, the elasticity of exports. We need these. We need coefficients. We calculate these, we compute these through the theory of econometrics. Econometrics may also be defined as the social science in which the tools of economic theory, mathematics, and statistical inference are applied to the analysis of economic phenomena. According to Estereo and Hall, econometrics means economic measurement. However, econometrics include all those statistical and mathematical techniques that are utilized in the analysis of economic data. So, this econometrics is actually, according to Estereo and Hall, econometrics actually is economic measurement, but it includes all those methods, those ways, those techniques in which we analyze the statistical data. However, the main target of using these statistical and mathematical tools in economic data to attempt to prove or disprove certain economic propositions and models. Economic theory may make statements or hypotheses that are mostly qualitative in nature. Suppose the law of demand, like the law of demand, which said that when the price rises, demand falls. When the price falls, demand rises. Under certain assumptions, the law does not provide a numerical measure of relationship. This is a theoretical law, and the numerical measure is provided by the econometrics. The main concern of mathematical economics is to express economic theory in mathematical form without regard to variability or empirical verification of the theory. Econometrics is mainly interested in econometrics is mainly interested in empirical verification of economic theory. As discussed in the previous slides, econometrics is the aim of econometrics is empirical verification and investigation of economic theory. Economic statistics is mainly concerned with collecting, processing, presenting economic data in the form of charts and tables. It doesn't go any further. The one who does that is econometrician. In econometrics, economic theories is transformed into mathematical form, then the data is applied over it to get the desired goal. We can explain the process of the econometrics, the scope of econometrics with a very simple example. You may have heard about the theory of demand, in which we say that the demand is a function of price. We know that there are also some other determinants of the price as well, like the price of substitute, income, taste, and preferences. So, according to the economic theory of demand, according to economic theory, demand is depends on price of substitute, income, and tastes and preferences of consumers. It is assumed that other factors are held constant. So quantity demanded of good X is a function of price of substitute, income of consumer, and tastes and preferences. Or QDX is a function of P, P0, Y, and T. Here the P stands for the price of the good X, P0 is the price of substitute, and Y is also an economic variable which shows the income of consumer, while T shows the taste and preferences of the consumer. When this the mathematical economics transform this equation, this function form into a mathematical model, you see QDX is equal to beta naught plus beta 1p plus beta 2p0 plus beta 3y plus beta 4t plus ui. Dear students, in this diagram we have the beta naught, b1, b2, b3, b4 as coefficients. These are unknown parameters, p, p0, y, t. These are the variables, and as these variables are on the right hand side of this equation, these variables are known as independent variables or explanatory variables, while the variable which we see on the left hand side, QDX, is dependent variable. In this case, in order to cover up all other factors, then these four factors are covered in a random term. UI, this UI is called random term or stochastic term or error term. After the development of this equation, the statistical data is applied over it and values of parameters are computed. So if we look at this particular diagram, we can see that the theory, first of all, an economic theory is presented, which is transformed into mathematical model, then the confrontation of the model with data. If the data supports the model, then we accept the theory. If the data does not support, then we can reject the theory, or we can revise the theory by adding some more variables, or by adding some more data, or by treating the data in a different way, and then applying the data and get the result. Dear students, we can mainly divide the econometrics into theoretical econometrics and applied econometrics. So let us discuss the theoretical econometrics and applied econometrics in detail. In theoretical econometrics, appropriate methods are developed to study economic relationships. It is closely related to mathematical statistics and it states assumption of particular method, its properties. It is particularly important to know when they are not fulfilled. According to Gujarati, theoretical econometrics is concerned with the development of the we can simplify it. This is, according to Gujarati, we can say that the theoretical economics is concerned with the development of appropriate methods for measuring economic relationships specified by econometric models. In this aspect, econometrics leans heavily on mathematical statistics. For example, one of the methods used extensively in econometrics is the least square. Theoretical econometrics must spell out the assumptions of the model, this method, its properties, what happens to these properties when one or more assumptions are not fulfilled. So the job of econometrics is to develop the techniques like the least square, like the co-integration, like the unit root test. These are the field of the theoretical econometrics. In simple words, in theoretical econometrics, models, techniques, methods are developed. In applied econometrics, we use the tools of theoretical econometrics to study some special field of economics and business, such as production function, investment function, demand and supply, portfolio theory, etc. Applied econometrics will be used for estimation of important quantities, analysis of economic outcomes, markets or individual behavior, behavior testing theories, and for forecasting. This means that applied econometrics, we apply the theoretical econometrics to specific field, or we make an empirical investigation of the techniques developed in the theoretical econometrics. The question arises why we study econometrics, or what are the goals of econometrics. The first aim of the econometrics is testing economic theory. If you recall the definition of econometrics, we define econometrics as the field in which the economic theories are verified through mathematical and statistical tools. So what happens in econometrics is that first an economic theory is presented. So it is one of the foremost goals of the econometrics to test the economic theory. We studied econometrics to test the economic theory. We know that first when economic theory is presented, it is purely in theoretical form. Look at the law of demand, law of supply, and so many other laws of economics which are in theoretical form. What the econometrics does, that econometrics transform these into mathematical model, and after transforming into mathematical model, the data is applied over it, and after these models are developed under certain assumptions, then the data is applied over it. If the data, with the help of this data, the estimation is made, the values of the betas are computed, the values of the B0 and B1 are computed, and then the theory is verified if the data supports the model, or the theory is rejected if the data doesn't support, and sometimes the theory is revised. So we can say that the first and most important goal of econometrics is to test the economic theory. The second aim of studying the econometrics is policy making. We can say another aim of the econometrics is policy making. It is an important job of econometrics to make policies. We apply various techniques in order to obtain reliable estimates of individual coefficients of economic relationship from which we evaluate the parameters of economic theory. The knowledge of the numerical value of these coefficients is very important for decisions of firms as well as for the formulation of economic policy of the government. Dear students, econometrics is widely used in the policy making. We need different types of the elasticities, we need different coefficients, different slopes, and we find all these through the econometrics. We can explain this with the help of a very simple example, the problem of the trade deficit. We know that if the imports are equal to exports, then we have balance of equilibrium in the balance of trade and balance of payments. If the imports are greater than exports, we have deficit in balance of trade and balance of payments. And we discussed in the lecture as well, previous lecture as well, that unfortunately the Pakistan balance of trade and balance of payment always face in most of the years after establishment, it has faced the deficit in the balance of trade and balance of payments. If the imports are greater than exports, we said that there is trade deficit, and if the imports are less than exports or exports are greater than imports, we say the trade is surplus. In case of the equilibrium, the balanced trade or surplus trade are in the favor of the country, while mostly trade deficit is not in the favor of the country. In case of deficit trade, one of suggestion is to increase the exports and reduce the imports. One of the technique which is used for the covering the trade deficit is the devaluation. It is considered as one of the important remedies for this purpose. If the currency is devalued, then the exports become cheaper in foreign country and exports increases. But the exports increases. The exports become cheaper abroad and the exports increases. But similarly, the imports become costly and the exports are curtailed. So if due to devaluation the exports increases and the imports falls, then definitely the trade deficit will be covered. But if the due to devaluation the export doesn't increase, then the devaluation is useless. So it is important to know before the devaluation you must know the elasticities of import and exports. This is important, that before devaluing your currency you must know about the imports and elasticities of imports and exports. If the exports are inelastic, then the devaluation will not increase the exports. Similarly, if the imports are inelastic, and then due to devaluation the imports will become costly but it will not fall. So this means that if the exports are inelastic, then there is the devaluation is useless. So before devaluation we must calculate the elasticities and on the basis of the elasticities of the import and export, we must design our policy for covering the trade deficit. The third aim of the studying economics is forecasting. In formulating policy decisions, it is important to be able to forecast the value of economic magnitudes. Such forecast will enable the policymakers to judge whether it is necessary to take any measures in order to influence the relevant economic variables. Forecasting becomes increasingly important both for regulation of developed economies as well as for the planning of economic development of underdeveloped countries. Dear students, suppose the government is interested in employment policy, then it will design a policy on the basis of some data. It will need a few years past data, which can it get from its office record. The current data can be obtained from the current sources, while the future prediction of 5 or 8 years for 10 years, the years it needs for its employment policy can be forecasted. So economics is widely used for forecasting. Dear student, this lecture is based on these sources. So for detailed, you can read the Gujarati, D.N. Gujarati 2003 Basic Econometrics, or Goldberger Economic Theory, or Henry Thiel Principles of Econometrics, or Corsiani's Theory of Econometrics. All these books are very good books, and after just a short introduction of this theory of econometrics, you can give reading to any of these books for details. Thank you very much.